What's up? And welcome back to the Something's Bruin podcast, episode 100.
100.
100 episodes deep into the Something's Bruin podcast. It honestly still feels like it's our 10th episode, dude. I feel like every time we come on, it's like, it's our first episode.
Yeah. Oh, what are we going to talk about today? Yeah, we
Yeah.
just kind of get on here and spitball. 100 years. I have it in my thing here. 100 years of selling mail. The Centennial.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? We should have wore special jerseys for this.
Who would have thought that we would make it not only like ourselves, our human biomes to 100 years, but this podcast lasting 100 years, covering 100 years of Boston Bruins hockey, us.
Yeah. If you had told me that episode 1 that we were going to have 99 more of these, I would have slapped you across the face because I mean, we say it enough times. If you go back and listen to the early episodes, I mean, holy hell, they sucked. Like, I'm not gonna, what the hell is the saying I'm trying to say here? I'm not gonna
Sugarcoat?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There we go. That's why we work so well together, because it sucked, and I like to think that we've come a long way, and to think of when we started this show, it was before the record-setting. It was before the record-setting Bruin season from 2 years ago, and look at where we are now. Not just the state of the Bruins, but the state of us as well. I was a fresh college graduate when we started this show. I had just started my new job. And other than that, everything in my life is pretty much the exact same. So I can't really say anything else than that. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been about 2 years now, and 100 episodes deep. It's crazy.
It's what I'm trying to remember if I was working at the post office when we first started. I started the post office 2 years ago in August.
No, I think this was right before.
It was right before. So really,
I think we started this in August.
If you really want to base like my life and where it began 2 years ago with the start of this podcast. It really did.
How sad is that? I think I could probably say the same thing.
I'm 26 years old and my life started 2 years ago.
And honestly, I can't stress enough. If I entered a time machine and went back to July 23rd, 2022, there's my life is the exact. I have a different car, but other than that, same job, still live in the same place, got the same friends. Everything is the exact same, pretty much. Except I could not sit my ass down, turn on my PlayStation, and absolutely dominate the SEC with my Road to Glory guide NCAA 24. That I could not do 2 years ago that I can do today.
Yep. I still have to download that game. Shout out to Ethan, one of the new writers on the Primetime Productions Network.
Killer
article on college football on the game. I need to get it. I need to get the game. I've been watching clips of people on YouTube playing it. I've been watching you guys play it. You were just telling me a story about one of our buddies who got demolished
by Arkansas. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Lauren.
Dude, it's cool because I'm not a huge college I'm a big NFL fan. I'm a huge Patriots fan. I'm a big football fan in general, but for whatever reason, just college football. I'll watch the big bowl games. I'll watch the college football playoffs, national championships. But it's helping me because actually, it's kind of messy with me right now because I'm still trying to learn what teams are what conference. And now, for college football fans, the Pac-12 is gone, and all these teams are moving different conferences. So it's a pain in the ass trying to learn anything. But the game itself is really fun. Not to brag. My Road to Glory guy as a freshman, I went to Kennesaw State. Heisman. We were dominating Notre Dame at the half, but then we ended up choking it away and lost in the college football playoffs. But hey, it happens.
That's your what do they call it? Your revenge arc or something like that? Your revenge story?
My revenge tour? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That works too. But episode 100, as always, brought to you in partnership with the one and only Primetime Prods. Give them a follow on Twitter at Primetime Prods to keep up with all articles, all podcasts, everything going around in professional sports. But you can follow us on Twitter at Bruin Something, YouTube at Something's Bruin. Now that I have my whole setup, it's a lot easier for me to produce the show and then also get it up on YouTube the following day. So look out for that. This should be there as well. But Yeah, I mean, before we get too deep into it, we can talk about the little bit of Bruins news that is out there. We still got Jeremy Swayman as an RFA. Jake DeBrusk's comments about his time in Boston, requesting 2 trades. I guess we can start with that. So, Jake DeBrusk in Vancouver talking to the media, and he mentions how, he requested a trade request out of Boston not once but twice, and his analysis personally, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but what he was saying is that, after he requested those trades, he kind of felt like he was on an island by himself. But once he got into the locker room, guys like Bergeron, Krejci, Marchand, all the guys, McAvoy, Pasta, they all picked him up and said, it doesn't matter. Like, you're here, you're with us. Like we still go as we normally would. And he took it as a professional, but he also mentioned how, he felt as if the front office, being Cam Neely, Don Sweeney, all the rest of the executives, weren't really being forthcoming with his trade requests, and they weren't really putting a good effort to accommodate to what he was asking for. So it sounds like to me like an extension in Boston wasn't even in play. Like, it was never gonna be a thing. He wanted to be out of the city. He also mentioned that he loved the city. Like, it was nothing against the fans or the city itself. He said Boston was a beautiful place, plenty of things to do. He loved being in the city, but it was something, I guess, that you can take that was organizational that he just did not really vibe with.
Yeah, that's interesting. First of all, I didn't know that until he said that he had requested 2 trades. I thought it was
Right.
only one. I wonder when the second one was, or maybe when the first one was, because we all remember when his trade request was made public and then it fell through, and then he had to awkwardly answer questions about it. That's got to be hard too, by the way, to request a trade and then just not get traded. And
Like,
and honestly,
like
like
3 years.
yeah, and like credit to Jake DeBrusk too, because I mean, no guy repped. I mean, there's plenty of guys, but he was repping Boston like nobody else throughout his tenure with the Bruins. I mean, it sucks now that he's in Vancouver. We can't use that GIF anymore of him going like this, like shaking the
I know,
Bruins jersey
tugging the
with his
knee.
feet past the bench. I mean, that guy was. I mean, he bled black and gold while he was here. And it's nice to hear that because I mean, we obviously, being Bruins fans, we hear so much about the leadership of Bergeron, of Marchand, of. I feel like we don't hear as much about Pastrnak and McAvoy just because I mean their leadership shadow has been in Bergeron and Marchand's, but it's nice to hear that whole group kind of picked him up and helped to support DeBrusk through what was obviously a very hard time requesting a trade and then not having it be completed and then having the public know about it and oops, now you got to go out and play like that. Like that's really got to suck.
Ooh, awkward.
But it's interesting too because it's interesting too because I can't think of like what other names come to mind when you think of Bruins players who have requested trades. Like I feel like the Bruins culture, the organization is so strong and it's been so strong really since Chara came here. Like the culture and everything that's been set in place, it's really the locker room has always been strong. Players love playing here. I mean, there's been so many guys who have just had a cup of coffee in Boston and they still talk about it. Like Jerome McGinley still talks about his tenure with Boston. Boy, did he mess up when he picked Penguins over the Bruins that one year. Pat Maroon had, been saying how much he loved Boston. This was his favorite locker room he's ever been in. He was here for like 4 months. I mean, that's one of the selling cards, I think, of playing for the Bruins. I mean, there's so many reasons to play here, but I think one of the leading factors is the organizational strength. I mean, 100 years of history. We're talking about our Centennial, the Bruins Centennial, 100 years of history. And for whatever reason, something happened with DeBrusk. I don't know if there was a bad faith thing or I don't know what it was, but he's got to be the only player in recent memory I can remember who was, requesting a trade and was this unhappy here. But to your point too, that makes all the sense in the world. Then why everything was happening with contract negotiations, why he said that they weren't calling him, why negotiations were stagnant. Because if the guys requested 2 trades, there was clearly some sort of history between him and the club, which I feel like we already knew. But now the fan of me wants to know what the hell happened. And why was there kind of this divide between DeBrusk and the Bruins?
Yeah, I think it all started with Cassidy. I think, like I was actually shout out Hibernation. I was just on that show last night with Cam Satch, and it was it was interesting, right? Because mentioning Cassidy, DeBrusk would go out there as a young guy and he would produce, he would play well, but then you would see his minutes diminish. He wouldn't play a lot. And that's when the first trade request came out publicly, at least. I'm assuming that was the first one. And so the Bruins decided to side with DeBrusk and they got rid of Cassidy. I think that's safe to say now. I know when that happened, that was kind of like the general consensus. Like, yeah, it's air quotes, Jake DeBrusk's fault that Cassidy's gone. But I think that the front office was investing in the player rather than the coach. And I mean, Montgomery has been successful here, so it's not an issue in that sense. But to hear that he asked for another trade after that is a little bit, it makes you wonder, did he just want to be closer to family out west? Clearly, maybe because now he's in Vancouver. So, back up home in Canada, Western Canada. And I'm gonna miss DeBrusk, dude. I think I'm gonna miss DeBrusk.
Yeah, I really like DeBrusk when he was here, and that's why it feels a little weird because the guy requested 2 trades out of Boston, so it seemed like he didn't want to be here. But when it was time for him to get paid and his contract was up, he was really upset that the Bruins didn't want him anymore. Which is why it's like, well, what is it? Like, you didn't want the Bruins anymore, and now you need a new contract, and you're upset that the Bruins don't want you. But despite that, he was here for what? I think it was 7 years. He had a very good career here. I know that his production at times was up and down, but one thing you can't say is that guy didn't go out there and battle every single night. And it's gonna suck not having him in the lineup anymore. But Vancouver got themselves a good one. That is a fat contract that he got. So we'll see how that works out in Vancouver. But I think from a personal standpoint for him, I think if it was really that bad here, where he requested 2 trades, I think a change of scenery is good for him. And I think he was on TSN or I don't know, one of those networks, getting interviewed post trade, and he was basically talking about how he's always wanted to play in Vancouver, and it almost seemed like he was insinuating he knew at some point in his career he was going to go play for Vancouver. So I'm sure this has probably been in the back of his mind, knowing that his free agency is coming up, that maybe Vancouver will come calling, because it seemed like Vancouver called and offered him a deal and it was done. There was no way. And it makes sense with his family being out there, and he was talking about how it's a short ride away from his parents' place and his extended family and everything. So happy for the player. I think that DeBrusk is going to do well out there in Vancouver, and for the Bruins, they got some more cap money to play with. So you have a bit of a hole now on your second line right wing, but hopefully some of these young guys can step up and do something here.
Yeah. So Jake DeBrusk, 7 years in Boston, 465 games played, 138 goals, 128 assists, 266 points. It's about 45 points a season, somewhere around there. Maybe a little less, like 40 points a season. But overall, good player. We're going to miss him. His defensive game, honestly, is what we're going to miss the most. And I think that's going to be pretty evident. But we've seen the Bruins kind of build back this lineup with guys like Kostelic, elevating guys like Johnny Beecher, Brazo, Frederick, Geeky, Coyle. It's a massive bottom 6. You have a gigantic bottom 6. The bottom 6 Bs have never been bigger. They've never been stronger. And Max Jones as well. So good luck to Jake DeBrusk in Vancouver. Hope all goes well. Hope he finds his peace and happiness out where he wants to be. And even though he's a Canuck now, we'll see him maybe once a year. Maybe we'll see him in the finals. But
I doubt it. Not that they lost Zadorov and Lindholm, baby.
I know. We basically traded rosters with the Canucks.
Yeah, and in a way, obviously you don't want to let DeBrusk walk for nothing, but losing DeBrusk in that cap, contributed to being able to add players like Zadorov and Lindholm, and who else am I missing? What other free agents did they sign?
Jones, Kostelic.
Max Jones. Kostelic was a trade, but so if you want to be optimistic, you can look at it in that lens. Sure, they could have traded DeBrusk for a draft pick, but probably would have whiffed on it anyways, we're being honest. So it's okay.
But with that being said, you did mention the salary cap too. The Bruins have about $9 million in cap. Jeremy Swayman still is unsigned. We've touched on it a couple times, but what do you think they're caught up on? Do you think it's term or do you think it's money? I think it's term. I think it's time because the Bruins have the money.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like in most cases, I feel like it would be the money, but I would not be surprised if Sweeney is like trying to push like a 4-year deal or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Like a 3 or a 4-year deal on Swayman, or maybe he's truly just trying to wait until the last minute because he knows he has all the leverage. I mean, he could be trying to maximize the amount of money that he's making. Like he knows, and his agent know that he has the Bruins by the balls right now. I mean, they traded Olmark, and that's why I thought, like I was going back and forth with people on Twitter, I don't know, last week or maybe the week before, because I said something about like I still believe that the Bruins are going to get Swayman signed, but the fact that there is literally no good news coming out, like there's hardly any news at all that's coming out in the first place, and the news that we are hearing is like, oh yeah, the sides are still far away. They're still like the only positive news that we've heard is that both sides did not go to arbitration, which is like, I mean, I figured that would happen. Right. But the fact that it's taking this long, I'm a little like, I still think it's going to get done, but I'm like, well, this kind of sucks because like part of me thought that like, you know, when they traded Olmark and this, and you tweeted this as well, that there was like a, you know, like a little wink, maybe a little handshake done. Like, yeah, like, you know, we'll get a deal done. Like, you know, you're our guy, pal. Like, you know, we're going to move Olmark and we'll sign you that big deal that you want. They moved Olmark now like 5 weeks ago, and Swayman is still unsigned and we're still not hearing anything good. So again, I still think that they're going to get it done. I mean, Pasta was the same way. I mean, that shit came down to the last minute with Pasta, and he got the deal that he wanted. So I'm with you, though. I think if it was between AAV or salary and in term, I would not be surprised if Sweeney was hung up on the years, or if Sweeney was hung up on the years. I feel like it's like, give him an 8-year deal. Give him 8 and 8. Like that's... that's like done deal. Like I think Swayman might ask for a little more. You know what? If he does, and give it to him. But like it's like, what are we doing now? It's almost the beginning of August here, and your franchise goalie still remains. He's 1 year left. He's an RFA, but then after that, he remains unsigned. So yeah, getting a little anxious.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's anxiety because I mean, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because he's definitely getting signed. Like I don't want to think too much. I don't want to overthink to the point where I convince myself that the Bruins are going to screw it up, because there's no way. There's just no freaking way that they screw it up. It's a 10 out of 10. He's going to get signed. But the anxiety of like, why isn't it done yet? Like, can we please just get this done on paper so we're ready to roll into the season? Like, just get it done. But I mean, outside of that, yeah, it's, what is it? July 22nd, July 23rd,
something like that.
There's no news. There's no Bruins news. So what we're gonna do at this point, I think it's time that we hop in to the Twitter DMs.
Heyo.
Episode 100. We've done 100 episodes. Every episode has featured DMs. We've had so many questions from you guys. So many good questions.
If we're at 100 episodes, how many DMs do you think we've read on the show by now? 1,000? At least 1,000.
At least. We've had at least we've had a
double whammy.
I'm still trying to figure out the soundboard. So apologies if that was really loud, because I'm still trying to figure that out too. We'll figure it out one day. But yeah, so I think we've had at least like 800. I think the minimum is 800 DMs. Max is maybe like 1,200.
Well, listen. Do you feel like between your DMs and my mailbag, do you feel like we usually do about 10 an episode?
Yes. And we had a couple episodes where we had maybe close to 30 to 40 DMs. So
yeah,
we gotta add those big ones in too.
If we had at least 10 an episode, then that's 1,000 right there, right? Is that we're not math guys.
10 times 100. Yeah, 1,000.
Let me call the smartest friend I know. Yeah, I know. I was gonna count my fingers. Like, I only got 10 of them. Wait,
actually, yeah, because I don't know. You might be able to see it on YouTube, but I was like, I do my thinking face. I look up into my brain, and I'm like 10 times. I was like, no, that's only 100 DMs. But no, it's 1,000.
Oh my god,
it's 1,000. So at least 1,000.
One DM an episode. We're at 100.
Yeah, we get one DM, one episode. It's basically the Freddie for MVP segment.
We're at 50. We read half a DM in one episode. The next episode, we read the second half and answer it. We only read 50 DMs.
We add suspense.
Yeah.
But I think it's only right if we start with these two guys. Well, actually, one guy, one gal. We'll start with E2.0. E2.0 has been with us since legitimately episode 1. He's been an absolute, yeah. You know what? Ethan 2.0, unbelievable. One more time. Ethan 2.0. We cannot give you
incredible Mr. E.
Incredible Mr. E7 on Twitter. He said, "Congrats on the 100th episode, boys. I'm out of questions for the pod, but just wanted to shout out the milestone."
Yeah. Hey, it means a lot. No, he's been great. I mean, you said it, like since we first started. I mean, he's always been coming in with his 2-parters. Every now and then he sprinkles a 3-parter in there. I think there was one episode that he missed, so we came back next week with like 4 questions, and it was like, oh my god, like he's been boots in the ground, one of our biggest supporters since we started. He's a good friend too. We DM him talking about hockey. He talks to you quite a bit as well. So we appreciate the message, E 2.0, and keep them coming, baby.
Yeah. Shout out to Ethan. An absolute day one. But this next one comes in from Zaka's biggest fan, Laura. At King of King 18. You know what, Laura? Thank you for all the support, all the questions, contributing to the podcast. She asks, "Hello, boys. Episode 100 is bonkers, but I'm so here for it. I got 2 questions for you and one sappy bit." She said, "My mom's question is about Max Jones. Where do you see him in the lineup? Do you think he's going to fill any specific roles? And do you see him being on any of the special teams?" So we'll start with her mom's question. I think if you're a Red Sox fan, and I know, maybe you're not, this is how, indeed a Bruins podcast. So maybe you're not, but Brock Holt, it was 2018, right? He was on that 2018 team.
He was.
He was the utility guy. So basically, he would fill in roles when needed. He could play a lot of positions, and he would basically be an everyday player, but filling in a fill-in role, if that makes any sense. I think that that's what Max Jones is going to be in the beginning of the year, and then I think eventually he wins out a spot. And it's going to be in the bottom 6. It's going to be a wing position, whether it's Brazeau that comes out, whether it's Kostelic that comes out, whether it's Beecher that comes out. I think that is going to be his role. He's a gritty player. He's young. I believe he's only 26 or 27, former first-round pick. He was beloved in Anaheim. He's going to be a fan favorite in Boston, but I can almost guarantee that. I would put my mortgage on that. Maybe a 7th player award favorite. But I have high hopes for Max Jones. 2 years, $1 million contract. But he's going to be a bottom 6 winger, and don't expect a lot of offensive pop, but definitely expect a lot of energy, a lot of grit, and just a lot of character that he'll bring into the bottom 6.
Can he play center as well?
No, he's strictly a winger.
Well, I like the super utility guy, the Brock Holt comparison. For all those Yankees fans listening, you might remember Brock Holt as the only player in MLB history to hit for the cycle in a playoff game. It was against the Yankees. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the game that the Red Sox thumped them like 16-1 on their way to winning the World Series. So quite the year, quite the player, quite the comparison. I'm glad you touched on the how much he was beloved in Anaheim, because what I've seen from people saying, who are Ducks fans, are saying that he was huge in the community there. He's just a really good guy, the kind of guy that you want in your locker room, the kind of guy who is easy to be a fan of. So for everything he does on the ice as well, whether it be a super utility role, if he's killing penalties, if he's going in and out of that, 4th line winger role, if he's the extra guy, He does all that, and then in the locker room as well, he's also a great teammate as well, and a great person to a great jersey to have, if you will. So I'm a big fan of the signing. Admittedly, I don't watch a lot of Ducks games, so I'm not too familiar with the style of play. But from everything I've heard and what I've seen, it seems like a rather small move to add Max Jones, but it seems like he's exactly the kind of player that any team would want as their third line or fourth line forward or that extra guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can contribute to this year. Do you think that he'll be penalties at all?
He might be. He might be. But I was also going to add too, if obviously we mentioned it, but that second line right wing spot is kind of vacant right now. We were kind of hoping for either Merkulov or Lysell to jump up and steal that role. If that doesn't happen, Max Jones is a little bit of an insurance policy on that. You can throw Morgan Geekie or Frederick on that second line right wing, and then now you can plug Max Jones to take whoever's spot, whether it be Geekie, Frederick, Brazo, Beecher.
For a second, I thought you were going to say to put Max Jones on second line right wing. I'm going to say, whoa, let's pump the brakes a bit there. You never know. He was a former first-round pick when we saw how the Bruins reinvented Zacha's career, given Zacha's a lot better than Max Jones was. But he was in Anaheim, so that is purgatory for hockey players. So those are the kind, like your Anaheim, your Chicago as of late, San Jose. Those are the teams that you save guys from that team. Like you go in SEAL Team 6, the armored truck, you evacuate them and bring them back to like an original 6 franchise, original 6 franchise or a big market, and then they pop off. New Jersey, they're fine. They're not a small market team by any means, but Zacha just wasn't getting the playing time there. But hopefully Max Jones, like you said, former first round pick. I think I don't remember where he went in the draft, but he's also on the same age as Zacha, 25, 26 years old. So I don't know. You never know.
Yeah. I think Jones was 24th overall. This is the weird thing about my brain, dude. Can you actually look that up for me, please? I don't know how to do math. Like we just did the 10 times 100. I didn't know, but I know stuff like that off of, just off a whim. And please tell me I'm right. Please tell me I'm right. Because this is what I'm talking about, the way that my brain functions.
He was drafted 24th overall in the 2016 draft.
Let's go.
Hey, way to clutch up.
Hey, listen. I'm just saying, this is the only thing in life that I'm good at. And I'm more than confident in myself to say that. I'm a decent mailman. I was terrible at math. I was good at history, but hockey knowledge, for whatever reason it is, I see a stat and it just sticks. I just know. And
it's the frontal lobe. I'm telling you, it's the frontal lobe. You've been a different man since you turned 26. You're pulling these stats out of thin air. I mean, before, if this was exactly 2 years ago when we started, you would have went, he was like a 4th round pick by Detroit. But now that you're 26, that frontal lobe is developed. 24th overall in the 2016 NHL draft. He's 26 years old, 4th line player. Can play a little bit of penalty kill. Can't play center. He's a good winger. You're on it, man.
I'm on it. It's my frontal lobe. Thank God for allowing me to get to the age of 26 to develop my frontal lobe. Yeah. I still can't talk. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out. I can't talk.
In due time. I'm glad. I still got. What month is it? July.
January,
February, March, April, May, June, July.
Counting on his fingers.
I still got about 5 months until my frontal lobe is fully developed. So I have an excuse. I have an excuse currently, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. Well, hopefully 5 months. But
yeah, well.
So Laura comes in. She said her question is about JD. She said, I've always loved him, but I want to know what you guys thought of his most recent interview for the Canucks, where he specifically said he wanted to go to a place where they could win. He did say that as well. Actually, we didn't touch on that part.
Yeah, I thought that was really that. Oh, sorry, you can go.
She said that really rubbed me the wrong way since he's been given every opportunity under the sun. But whatever. I'm just petty. But what do you guys think? I was gonna say that unfortunately we already talked about it, but we didn't mention that part. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I feel like first of all, I feel like that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I mean, the Bruins in his tenure here have the most regular season wins in the NHL. Their playoffs are a different animal, but in the regular season, they are literally the most dominant team in the NHL. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about wanting to go to a place to win. If you want to talk about winning, performing in the playoffs, you went to the Canucks.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? You left the Bruins. You went to 2 Stanley Cup finals. No, he went to 1 Stanley Cup finals. He wasn't on the Chicago team. No, he wasn't. He went to 1 Stanley Cup finals with the Bruins. He was on a team that had the most wins in NHL history. He was on a team that had the most points in NHL history. Every single year he made the playoffs. He made it to multiple Eastern Conference finals, but he left that team to go to the Canucks because he wants to play for a team that knows how to win? What?
Listen, I think Jake DeBrusk's ultimate goal is to go undefeated. And he didn't see that as an opportunity here. He just didn't think it was possible. But in Vancouver, though,
that's a different, because they know all about winning. Who can forget 2011?
Yeah.
They won 3 games. We all saw it. Couldn't win the 4th, but
they won the President's Trophy in 2011, and didn't they win the Cup in 2011 too? I mean, talk about a team that knows winning.
That was the year where everybody said they were going to win the Cup, right? And they and they injured I don't remember who they were playing, but I remember that they injured their top line winger and took a 2-0 lead.
Really dirty hit.
I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember
they had the Sedin twins, they had Burrows, they had Luongo.
They had Luongo.
That team definitely won the Cup.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Bieksa, he's such a happy guy who has so many good memories from 2011 that he's always talking about. I mean, that's they had to have won, right? Because they know so much about winning.
Rookie Corey Schneider. I mean, that team.
Sallow. I mean, Ryan Kessler. They were loaded.
They won the Cup that year.
They had to have won the Cup.
That's why you went there.
You know what? Let me look it up.
So much. Yeah, do a quick Google search really quick. I'll be shocked.
Oh my God.
If they didn't. What?
Are you sitting down?
I'm sitting.
The team that Jake DeBrusk went to because they knew how to win. They actually lost the 2011 Stanley Cup. Guess who they lost it to?
Back then, really good team. It had to be a team like Tampa?
Nope.
Philly.
It's the team that he just left.
The Boston Bruins?
Who would have thought? Yeah!
Jake DeBrusk is going to a winner.
What an idiot! What a stupid quote that was. Oh my God! Now listen, I understand when you go to a new team and you want to make a good impression that you say what you can to make them like you, to make them fall in love with you fast. But that's just I'm sure even Vancouver fans heard that and said, "Us? Oh, he must be heading to Tampa. What do we know about winning?" Because that is a ridiculous. And to say that when you're like, if it would be one thing if he was leaving like the Nashville Predators and went to Vancouver and said, "I want to play for a team that knows how to win." Still kind of dumb, but it's like, all right, like Vancouver, they won a President's Trophy in the last decade. Like, but they haven't really done too much outside of that. They went to a Stanley Cup Finals at least. But like you're saying that about Boston, like a team that we've all watched him win a Stanley Cup 13 years ago. They just won a President's Cup last year. They just set NHL records last year. They were a win away from being Stanley Cup Finals in 2019 on a team that you were on, Jake DeBrusk. So, like, I don't know. It's a stupid thing to say. Again, I understand wanting to say the right thing to make your new teammates like you, but that was just kind of I think a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment for Jake DeBrusk there.
Like, do you think it was a stab at Don Sweeney and Cam Neely? I mean, obviously, if they hear that comment, they're probably like, shut up, dude.
No, because like, I would picture them all sitting around a table laughing because it doesn't even make sense. And like the Vancouver Canucks have been the butt of so many jokes because they don't know how to win. They've never won a cup. So the fact that now this guy leaving the Bruins, the Boston Bruins, to go to Vancouver and saying he wants to go somewhere because he wants to win after they just lost their two big trade deadline acquisitions, lost it, went to the Bruins.
You know what? Ooh, I'm about to say it. Ooh,
say it.
I'm about to say it.
Say it.
You know what, Jake DeBrusk? that comment and us talking about it really, really grinds my gears. I hope you have like a 20-point season. I hope your minutes get diminished, and I hope you have a shit season. Just because of that comment, you could have left Boston with class. We all loved you. We all liked you. But you come out there and say you want to go to a city in a team that knows how to win after you leave the Boston Bruins, who took you to one Stanley Cup final. I don't think you missed the playoffs 1 year since you've been here. In the last 2 seasons, you've been the winningest team in the NHL. What are you talking about?
Yeah, man.
You bum.
Yeah, he's selling himself out. He's boom. He's selling himself out. He's forgetting who he is. And if you listen to the first 10 minutes of this episode when we were talking about how much we love Jake DeBrusk, that wasn't us. That was somebody else.
Comment.
That was before I heard this comment. I didn't know that he said that. That honestly, it pisses me off. And shout out Laura for bringing it up, because otherwise people would have thought they were big DeBrusk fans. We would have went this whole episode without knowing.
Now I'm like indifferent because I liked him when he was here, but after you burnt the bridge, Jake. You burnt the bridge. You burnt the Zakem. You burnt down the Zakem bridge. You can't come here anymore. You can only come here by tugboat. And you know what? I don't think there's any tugboats that go from Vancouver to Boston, you little snake.
That would be the longest tugboat ride ever. You'd have to hit the Panama Canal, right?
America, unless you go through the Panama Canal.
No, because
you'd still have to go through Mexico.
Yeah, we have contact. We'll tell him to shut down the canal. He's got to take the long way. You got to go all the way around Asia. You got to go underneath South America and come back up through the Atlantic. That's the only way you're going to get around here.
Trek through the Amazon, maybe take the Oregon Trail.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe I'll put in a word and they'll stop you at the border. You don't have the right visa. We're going to make your life a living hell, Jake DeBrusk, trying to get back here.
Yeah, I want to see the first game that Vancouver. I don't even know if they visit Boston next season, but if they do, I want to see most wanted posters up around the garden with Jake DeBrusk's face on it.
Oh yeah, put his face on milk cartons, on the Gorelick milk carton. I want to see Jake DeBrusk missing. Where is he? Oh no, not missing. We know where he is. He's in Vancouver because he wanted to win.
You know how to win,
idiots.
Oh God, damn it. All right, well. Let's see. And then she said, here's my sappy message. Super proud of you both for hitting 100 episodes. Can't say I've been around for all 100. Looks like I started sending in questions around December, January, but it feels like I've been around since the beginning. Absolutely. Never been a huge fan of podcasts, but I haven't missed a week since I started listening. Love the pod, and you guys are wonderful people in person and online. Thanks for making me feel a part of the podcast. Love you both. Here's to another 100. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura.
That one almost got me. I'm not gonna lie. That was a nice message from Laura. We were given E2.0 his flat. I mean, there's so many people that we could give. We could have a whole episode of thanking people for supporting us. But like E2.0, Laura has also, even though she joined the family in December, like she said, or January, she has been an unbelievable supporter of us on social media, whether it be plugging her episodes or just, sending in questions or even just like sending us nice tweets. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of people say some stupid stuff online, and it's nice to see Laura saying every now and then that she appreciates what we're doing, that she still listens to our show. And meeting her and her brother at the Bruins game was really cool. You and I were talking about after again. Holy crap. She was probably about a foot taller than you. And
I'm tiny.
No, don't sell yourself short. Laura's just tall, and her brother's tall too. But it was cool being able to meet them at the game, meet them in person, and talk about Bruins and life and stuff. So, thank you very much, Laura, for being a part of our show for the last handful of months here. And the good news is that we are not going anywhere. So, we had 100 more episodes, 200 more episodes. I think we said last episode we'll be 85. Dentures falling out. Still talking Bruins. We get a cup by then. But thank you and your mom and your brother for supporting the show as much as you guys have.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts, honestly. Like, we've been able to meet people that we've kind of communicated with through Twitter, through online stuff, but meeting them in person is 10 times better. Like you get to form these actual relationships, these friendships, and it just makes going to the game 10 times more fun. Like I love when people come up and they're like, "Hey, like," or like say we post a picture of us at the game. They're like, "Hey, like come meet us on the concourse." Like, you know, intermission, I'll be here in this section. We'll come out, we'll talk to you guys, we'll meet you guys. Like we want to. Like it's fun to meet everybody. Like otherwise it's just me and Mel just talking. But like it's fun to meet everybody in person. And Laura, like you said, she's always active online on Twitter. She's always sharing the episodes when they drop. That alone right there, that is super appreciated because the contributions to the podcast, awesome, phenomenal. You can't thank you guys enough for that. And then the extra mile is going and sharing those episodes when they drop to help spread the word of SB.
Said the something's brewing gospel.
Yeah,
we're like Jehovah's Witnesses. We're knocking on the doors of people's profiles, trying to send them more episodes, have them listen, and Laura's helping to spread the message.
Yeah, she's an apostle of the Something's Brewing podcast, and it's very appreciated. Like she's out there handing out pamphlets. She's you know going on people's Spotify's and adding the show to their Spotify playlist, Apple Podcasts, whatever you listen to us on. But no, it's super appreciated, and like I said, going that extra mile just means the world to us. So we can't thank her enough. But before you get into
the next one, do you mind if I know we usually save my mailbag for its own segment, but because we just read Laura's, do you mind if I read Seth's?
Hey Mel?
Yeah.
You've got mail.
Oh, there it is.
That mailbox, baby.
All right, I got 2 letters this week, but I wanted to read Seth's first because we just read Laura's, and of course Seth is Laura's brother. You can follow Seth on Twitter at SethIRoth10. Also met Seth at the Bruins game. Also very tall. I don't know how much milk you guys been drinking, but holy crap.
He's like
I'm a tall guy myself, and like Laura and I were like, and I'm like 10 years older than I'm a lot older than her, and we were seeing like it was weird. Anyways, Seth said, "Don't know if you were reading mailbags, but I'm gonna at least send in a message. Happy Centennial episode, boys. Even if I've only started listening recently, I think I only sent in my first message a month and a half ago. Laura was often commenting about the podcast to me and our mom before we were listening. And also meeting you both at Game 7 this year was fun, and so was that game. So cheers. I did put 2 questions on the tweet earlier, but I'm going to send a quick one here as well. Shouldn't make you think terribly hard. Would you ever consider going to a preseason game? I like going to maybe one because it gets me back in the mood and excited for the season when I don't have to worry too much about the result. Plus, even if the crowd isn't full, it's still healthy and fun."
It's funny that he said he'll go to get in the mood. Like it's a preseason game for the fans too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was gonna say like you go, you can kind of shake the rust up. Yeah, give me a Bud Light, or
chant. You kind of forget halfway through. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Everybody's doing the wave. You don't know how to do that or whatever.
One arm goes up. You're like, I forgot my other one.
Yeah. Oh, put my feet in the air. It's nice, too, to remember where everything is because I know they have a margarita cart stand in the garden. They only have one of them. Yes, I found it once, and I hit it like 4 times that one game. I went with my dad on my birthday, and my dad, shout out him, he's the one who found the margarita cart stand, and we were chiefing those things. But I went to like 2 or 3 games after that, and I couldn't find the damn cart. And the margaritas were pretty good, too. They have them on a keg. So it's also nice to go for the preseason too, so you can kind of, scope up the lay of the land. It's okay. You can be a little late to your seat because it's just a preseason. So, go to the bathroom in the middle of the second period if you want, or go find that margarita cart stand or whatever it may be. But I've never been to a preseason game myself, but I would. Why are you making that face?
Burger King ad just started playing in my ears.
Oh, well, I couldn't hear it.
And then I heard the King talking. That was weird.
Yeah, we're actually sponsored now by BK.
Yeah, have it your way.
Surprise. No, I've never been to a preseason game, but I would go just because Bruins games are fun.
I actually don't know if I've ever been to one. I feel like I have, like a long, long time ago. I have this weird memory of it being against the Flyers.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm good for one an episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would go. I mean, preseason games are fun. They're cheaper. It's good to get in the city, go watch some hockey, go out to Sullivan's Tap, Greatest Bar, wherever you like to go afterwards or before, pregame, postgame. Oh my God. The fact that we're talking about this and it's only July is really making me mad. Not mad. That's not the right word, but I'm like antsy to get back into like the groove of the season.
Yeah.
Should we promote the potential roundtable thing? Or should we wait a
Yeah.
little bit?
No, go for it.
All right, so this is exciting. So what me and Mel are planning on doing for this season, I don't know if it'll be every game. I'm sure like with Mel and myself, like our schedules sometimes it won't align, but we're aiming to do a number of live streams during the games, and we'll have rotating guests in for each period. So say like just for instance, for example, we'll have like
Lowell.
opening night. Yeah, so we'll have like opening night. Florida will be live streaming the game. It'll be called the Something's Bruin Roundtable, and whole game will be streaming. First period, we'll have a guest. So we'll line it up. Say first period, Chris Davis from Drop the Mitts will be joining us for the first period. Second period, Brett Howard from Only Bruins. He'll be joining us. Third period, Jason writing for Primetime. He'll be joining us, and then hopefully, as the live streams grow, we can get more people on and kind of grow the community to a little bit bigger and connect everybody. So that should be something fun. That's one of the projects that we alluded to a couple episodes ago that we were kind of gearing up to build for the season. So that is a little sneak peek into a project that we're working for and something that should be a ton of fun for the season.
That and you're never going to guess what I just remembered.
What?
We have a David Pastrnak jersey to give away.
Oh my God, we do.
We got over a year ago.
Mel, not gonna lie, Mel, it's somewhere in this apartment. But when I moved to Needham, I had all my clothes packed in boxes. I had everything separated in different boxes, like like pajamas, shorts, shirts, and then jerseys. And I opened up the jersey box, nowhere to be found. I don't know where it is.
You know what we should do? Because we got to get rid of this damn thing. We've now talked about it at least 10 times, saying we're gonna give it away on Twitter, and we never do. When we go to a Bruins game this year, one of us just has to wear it, and the first person who finds us gets it. We'll just give it to him there at the game.
We should do like what we should do? It'll be like an Easter egg hunt. It'll be, It'll be an Easter egg hunt. We'll say something like either on Twitter or on the podcast where you have to see us in the garden and say this code word. And if you say this code word to us, you get the jersey off our back.
Yeah, and the code is you have to open your wallet and pull out a crisp $100 bill and hand it to me, and then you will get the jersey off our backs.
What should the code word be? Like, no. Oh, you know what it should be?
No. We'll have to say it. No, we don't say the code word on Twitter. We have to say it on an episode. So it's for people who listen.
Yes. Should we say the code word now or should we wait?
The code word. What should it be?
Because I was thinking, hang on, actually, before we say anything, here's what we're going to do. Remember when we renamed Blades? Don't say the name.
Yes.
Remember that's the code word. All right.
Okay.
All
right.
So if you want, the code word is what me and Mel renamed Blades in like probably episode like 15. So long ago.
And then I subsequently posted memes about it on Twitter. Even during this, I still have the videos on my phone. I'll start tweeting them again as the Bruins season starts. But that's a good one.
Yeah,
and it's like a normal word too. So it very like if we bump into Johnny because he's British, it might just come up in natural conversation.
It might. Shout out Johnny. I miss Johnny. I can't wait for the voicemails to come back so we can hear his
Oh, I know. He's got to be cooking up something devious over there.
Yeah. But I'll even mention that like the voicemail line. Like I said, this summer we were kind of workshopping a lot of things. We were getting things ready for the podcast, kind of improving whether it was equipment that we have, segments that we're planning on doing, something like the Something's Brewing Roundtable. We've been using this summer to kind of build on to the program and make it better for you guys. So we've put the voicemail line on hold for now, but that doesn't mean it's gone. It's not gone.
It's coming back, baby, in full
it's
force.
coming back strong and better than ever. And I better hear at least 5 to 10 calls an episode. I think we have to brand it too. So I think we brand it as the Chaos line. I think that should be the branding of the line. And it's just you call in after games happen and you leave your reactions.
Yeah, I like that. So like questions, because we've always fielded questions come in the forms of DMs and letters into my mailbag and responses on Twitter. Reactions come in the form of voicemails on the Chaos line. So the Chaos line, the only purpose for the voicemail line moving forward, which not confirmed, but this is what we're workshopping, is post-game reactions. When Johnny goes on his 2-minute long, very eloquent and descriptive rant. The only exception is Lovell, because he's got the Lovell line. That's his own thing, and he just calls and just spews whatever pops into that noggin of his. But yeah, there's stuff that we've definitely been talking about and workshopping. Thank the Lord we haven't had to resort to doing that goddamn spinny wheel thing that we did last year that we always talk about. But also too, like, it's important for us as well to not, like, we don't want to half-ass anything. Like, it's very easy for Sully and I to sit here and to just talk because it's just like natural. We've said it 1,000 times. If Sully was in my living room with me right now, we would be having this exact same conversation because we're just a couple of meatheads we've known each other forever. But at the same time too, like, there's been a couple weeks over the course of the summer that we haven't put out an episode. And our schedules are busy in the summer, but also we don't want to just sit here and just like blab about absolutely nothing because the dog days of summer can get tough. So that's another thing too that we've been trying to work on, making sure that we're always giving good discussions.
Yeah, like even like you just said, like also like we don't want to just hop on every week and give you a shitty episode. Like that's not fun for anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So our I know we're at episode 100 here, but we're still learning and we're still workshopping and trying to figure stuff out. And we learned a lot, especially through the course of our first season was great because it was during the historic run. So it was like, it has to be us. We have to be the Bruins' good luck charm. And then we came back last year and we were like, well, maybe not because, things happened during the regular season that weren't great. But, we've been learning what works and what doesn't work and what, we've been trying to workshop the voicemail line and DMs and branding everything. So, we're a couple months away now from the start of the season, but very excited for Bruins hockey to be back. And I'm very excited for the future of the Something's Bruin podcast.
Yeah. Well said. I have nothing else to add on to that. But
I said thanks. I have another letter too, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, that's got mail.
Yeah, that's right. I got one more letter. This is from Frederick for MVP. You can follow Freddie on Twitter at Frederick_MVP. Freddie said, thoughts on Pastrnak practicing with Yager and I always say it wrong. Is it Necas?
Necas.
Thoughts on Pastrnak practicing with Yager and Necas. I think he might be trying to recruit Necas. We'll answer that one first because there's two questions. My biggest takeaway from seeing them practice together was the unbelievable jersey that David Pastrnak was wearing. Did you see that?
Yes.
It was a pretty fun jersey. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind having Necas on the Bruins. I know, Sully, you know a lot more about him than I do. I also know that Carolina, it seems like they've been trying to trade him for quite some time. But I mean, if the Bruins, if Pasta was trying to recruit Necas, and if the Bruins were interested, what do you think it would cost to get a player like that in the Bruins?
It would have been Allmark. It would have been Allmark and something else, probably Allmark and Lysell. So,
okay, done. It's better than Kastelik and a couple of first round draft pick.
Ooh, excuse me. I don't know if that.
That was a good one. All right. Part 2 of his question is: how would you feel if Swayman is signing to a 4-year, $6.5 million deal, or demanded that the Bruins improve the team, i.e., get a legit winger before he would sign? Also, we know Mike is a mailman by day, but what is your job, Bell? First things first. How would you feel if Swayman is signing a 4-year, $6.5 million deal?
Well, first off, I'll let you go, but I just want to say this for my fellow letter carriers across the continental United States and Hawaii. Shout out to you guys. Unbelievable job. Probably have globes at some point this week. I don't know if that's just a mass thing. Because
Globes tomorrow, Paco.
Yeah, I learned through Paco. They don't have those, so I felt abused. But shout out to the mailmen and women. Go Mel. Sorry.
Hey, our country's finest, baby. I salute to you.
Yes,
the
sir.
warriors of the mail. 4 years, $6.5 million
class. The pounders of pavement.
Got any more?
No, I'll let you
the
know.
Deliverers of documents.
The pursers of packages.
Whoa! Okay, that was a good one. I'll stop while we're ahead. 4 years, $6.5 million deal. I mean, I would prefer he get a long-term deal. I want 8 and 8. And I think $6.5 million is way too low. I don't think Swayman would take that little money, especially when UC Saros just got. Yeah, you hold that jersey up high and proud.
You didn't even hold it up straight. There,
it's all dirty. Jesus, we're messing.
It's disgusting.
I don't think he would take that deal, especially with the deal that UC Saros got. But I would still give him 8 and 8 if he wants a little more than that. Then give him a little more than that. But I don't. I mean, maybe that's why this is taking so long. Maybe Freddie's right, and Sweeney is dangling 4 years, $6.5 million in front of his face. But I would not be a fan of that deal because I want him to be signed up long term.
Yeah, no, I'm basically with you. I don't really know if I have much else to add.
What are your thoughts on? Do you think the possibility of Swayman demanding that the Bruins improve the team before he signs?
No, I don't think there's anything to that. Just because he knows the money situation. If he's forcing the Bruins to add a top 6 winger, then he knows he's gonna have to take like a $3 million deal, and he's not gonna do that.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
The money's not there. I mean, in an ideal world, I mean, yeah, you'd have a second line winger that's a stud, but it's just, I mean, monetarily not feasible.
Yeah. Also, we know Mike is a mailman by day, but what is your job, Mel? I am
of the United States.
I was gonna say I'm in the Secret Service.
Oh
Surprise.
No! No wonder everything happened.
No, I'm a digital and social media coordinator. I'm not going to tell you who I work for or exactly what I do because I don't need people knowing, but I'm a digital and social media coordinator, so I work with websites and digital marketing and social media profiles and all that fun jazz. But it is not as exciting as the courier of the what'd you say? The something of packages? God damn it. I think the Prince of Packages is a little better.
The Prince of Packages, actually, I love. The king of there's nothing that works there.
The King of Causeway Street.
Actually, fun fact, when I was in high school, I had a blog about the Bruins and it was called Causeway Kings.
Was it?
No, it was not Causeway Kings. It was it might have been Causeway King. No, Causeway Crowd. Causeway Crowd.
Shout out the Beeline. Remember that?
Shout out the B. I still have access to that actually.
Really?
I was looking at my old articles. I only had each article had one view, and it was probably my mom.
I think I joined you with that, but I don't think I did anything.
We've always had this in mind. This is just the thing that works.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was for, but I remember it honestly might have been. It might have been for something.
Now. Hang on, I'll go on to WordPress. Hang on.
I remember when we first started Something's Brewing and we needed a logo, and I tried to make a logo on Adobe Illustrator with the Zakem Bridge, and I swear to God, I worked on that for 3 hours, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen. And we ended up going with you making something on Snapchat with our Bitmojis.
Yep. So bad. I still have it in my phone. I should share.
Oh my God. We should
But-
temporarily change our logo for the 100th episode to that.
Well, Freddie made that graphic. I'm gonna share it on Twitter later. So shout out to Freddie for that. I unfortunately can't add it to the Spotify page just because then the other one will go away. But I'm definitely gonna share it to Twitter because it was sick. It was awesome. But Mel, I have them on WordPress right now. I don't know why I still own the domains. You must be thinking of the one from 2015 because that was high school.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was Captain Bergie.
What was
I had Captain Bergie. I had
It's like
Beeline. I had
name?
Causeway, Crowd, and now this.
I remember the Beeline because I remember we were like you started it and then like I was like gonna come on to like help you with the website or like social media or digital or something. And I remember like having conversations like, wow, like dude, like we're like this is gonna be huge someday. It was like the dumbest thing.
I remember I wanted the logo to look like the T, but just put a B.
Yeah. We were like 16 and 17 years old, like thinking we were starting the next bar stool. Like,
yeah, I know.
I wonder if the Twitter is still out there.
It might be a blessing in disguise because now we have the Something's Bruin podcast, which is elite.
That's true.
The Beeline is probably still out there somewhere.
Yeah,
sure.
I remember we had a Twitter account, and I think I made the Twitter account, and I think the logo is probably still on there. It might be taken down now because I know all the old Twitter accounts that aren't being used got deleted. But yeah, it was horrible. We've come a long way. Hey, this has always been the plan since we were in high school. I was probably
it has always been the plan.
2015. Yeah, we were like 16 and 7. Oh my god, did I just find it? Oh my god, I found it. Wait, listen to the bio, the Twitter bio, the ultimate Bruins account that serves up game analysis and some extremely hot takes. #trade Chara. Remember you were all aboard the trade Chara? You and I used to get in huge fights because you wanted to trade Chara. The website.
That's crazy. Yeah, Mel, that's it. Wait, what's the Twitter account? What's the Twitter account?
It's __ the Beeline. It's following 13 people. Wow, I didn't even follow myself. It's not even following us. Yeah. The last tweet was on March. Okay, then just try _. I might be wrong.
Wait, send me the profile.
I'll send it to you. The last tweet from it was on March.
100 followers.
The last tweet, it has 28 followers. The last tweet was from March 21st, 2017. Bruins lose 3-2, drop 3 in a row. Oh yeah, I remember because like we would hardly use a Twitter account, and then all of a sudden like a game would be on. We're like, oh, we should probably use this, and I would fire off like 80 tweets over the course of one period.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow. This is wild. Wow. I think I might follow it. I hope it follows me back.
Follow it.
Who is like? We got to find a login and just start using it again.
Damn. Wait, that's actually wild. We had people quote tweeting, retweeting that one Zdeno Chara article. I mean, oh my god, Army retweeted it.
Did he?
Yeah, holy crap.
Holy shit. Wow. Do you think he even knows that was us?
0% chance. That's insane. I mean, this is a blast from the past. Holy, if anybody wants some free entertainment to see what Sully and Mel were like before Something's Brewing, go to @__ the Beeline. Holy shit!
I'm gonna retweet one of the tweets so people can find it.
That's insane.
I'm actually gonna retweet your article about the Bruins moving on from Zdeno Chara.
Quote it like the Bruins have moved on from Zdeno Chara.
Wait.
I'm gonna do
wait, hang on.
Hang on a second. Oh, that's so funny.
Wow. Sorry, I can't talk. Okay, I just tweeted it. If anybody, I mean, I know you'll hear this tomorrow morning, but if you're scrolling through Twitter and you see a random tweet that I quoted where I said, wow, Mike Sullivan was right. The Bruins have moved on from Zdeno Chara, and you're thinking, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Just hopefully now you're understanding why I tweeted that. That is crazy. This is from when we were in high school. That is so weird. I can't believe we just found that.
That's insane, dude. That is so funny, and I hope people are seeing that confused right now, and then they listen to this tomorrow, and they're like, "Oh,
oh, I love the long bits, dude. They're so funny. You might look like idiots today, but hopefully tomorrow you'll be laughing. And for people who don't listen to our podcast, we'll just be idiots. That's fine too.
Yeah. I cannot believe that's still on Twitter. That is so insane.
That's crazy. I can't believe I just found it.
Wow, that's cool. Was that the end of the mailbags?
Yep, those were the two I got.
All right. Wow, that just made my night, dude. That's insane. So let's see. The first DM comes in from Jason. Shout out Jason at Bassin Bruins. He said, and I really like this question. If you sent the modern Bruins back to 1970 and the 1970 team to today, would the modern guys with old equipment / rules, etc., fare better, or the 1970 team playing with new equipment fare better?
Is he talking about like the Bruins team from the year 1970?
So 1970 team playing in today's league with the same equipment, same rules, would they be better than today's team playing in 1970 with their equipment and their rules?
Okay. Have you looked at the Bruins 1970 roster?
I know it must have been phenomenal.
Let's just go through some of these names, shall we?
Okay.
Dan Oury, Ace Bailey, Ivan
died in 9/11.
What?
Ace Bailey died in 9/11.
Did he?
Yeah, he was on one of the planes.
Wait.
Swear to God.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. Holy shit.
Like I said, my brain makes no sense.
How the hell? Jesus Christ. All right. Well, they have Don Oury, Ace Bailey, Ivan Boldarev, Hall of Famer Johnny Busick, Wayne Carlton, Wayne Cashman. Is Wayne Cashman in the Hall of Fame? I know his number's retired.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He's
Wayne
not?
Cashman. Nope.
Jerry Cashman in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing?
Jerry Cheevers, Phil Esposito,
Cashman in. Sorry.
Ted Green, Ken Hodge. Is Ken Hodge in the Hall of Fame? No, he's not. Ken Hodge, Eddie Johnston, Reggie Leach, Don Marcotte, John McKenzie, Bobby Orr, Derek Sanderson, Donnie Schock, Dallas Smith, Rick Smith, Bill Spear, Fred Stanfield, Mike Walton, Ed Westfall. Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Holy shit. No.
What?
Wait. Phil Esposito this year? Guess how many points he had? Just wild guess. They only played 78 games.
180.
152.
Jesus Christ.
Bobby Orr, 22-year-old Bobby Orr. Any guess?
130.
139.
Holy shit, I was close.
Johnny Busick?
Yeah. 95.
105 or 116. Ken Hodge, 105. They had 4 100-point players.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if this team played today with modern equipment, they would go undefeated and win the Stanley Cup.
They would actually, this is the team that Jake DeBrusk would want to be on.
Yeah. No, well, first of all, I think if we're talking about like the actual equipment, like modern day players putting on skates and using wooden sticks from the 70s, forget about it. That would be an absolute disaster. Like, I feel like these skills would not translate very well. Like, if you had David Pastrnak trying to go bar down and do these, these crazy one-timers with a wooden stick, I feel like it would not have the same effect as that, 65 composite Bauer Supreme stick that he's using.
If David Pastrnak played back then with wooden sticks, the Amazon would be gone because they all just go to stick manufacturing.
Even like if you've seen the skates they used to skate on, those things are, it looks like a loaf of bread on their feet. And if you put,
it's a Hawaiian roll with a butter knife on it.
Yeah, and if you put like modern day like Bruins NHL defensemen and those monstrosities and said go out there with no helmet and good luck, Like that would not look the same. And then even if you were to put Jeremy Swayman in those old ass pads, that would be, honestly, I feel like Swayman would be really good because he still has the modern day NHL goaltending style.
Yeah.
Okay, so Swayman would be really good, but like I feel like the rest of the team would be disastrous wearing old equipment. On the other hand, if you had those players you just said putting up those numbers with loaves of bread on their feet and twigs in their hands, if you put them in the modern day game, I mean, I don't know how they would do competing against other players in the modern day game, but let alone if you had Bobby Orr wearing like Bauer Supreme skates and he's got like, CCM, like the newest equipment imaginable. I mean, could you imagine what he could do out there on the ice? And like you said, Phil Esposito with the Nexus could probably kill a child in the stands with that shot, if we're being honest.
He killed Happy Gilmore's dad.
Yeah, God damn it. I mean, I think if you took the 1970 Bruins and put them in today's game, they would be considerably better than today's Bruins going back and playing in 1970.
Yeah, I mean, you would have, if David Pastrnak was back in 1970, he'd be wearing a Hawaiian roll with a butter knife on his feet. He'd be wearing a Home Depot bucket as a helmet, and he'd be wearing oven mitts as gloves.
And he'd be from a country that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, true. He probably wouldn't even be allowed over here.
Czechoslovakia, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the rules were back then, but yeah, no, that was a fun question. Who sent that question?
That was Jason.
Yeah, Jason, that was a good one.
Yeah, shout out Jason. Again, at Bass in Bruins. The next one comes in. This one comes in from Seth as well, also featured in Mel's mailbag. At Seth I Roth 10. He said, it's a two-parter. Mm-hmm. We'll go one question at a time. Favorite Bruins memory of all time? I'll let you go first. Let's exclude obvious ones. So like the Cup, let's exclude Game 7 against Toronto in 2013, and any other obvious ones. I have mine if you want me to go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
February 9th, 2011. Boston versus Montreal at the Garden. Carey Price fought Thomas. There were about 17 different brawls that game. I think the Bruins won 8-5. It was the best hockey game I've ever seen in my life. You had Brad Marchand submarining PK Subban. You had, I think it was Andrew Ference just teeing off on Thomas Plekanec, I believe it was. And Sean Thornton got into it. That was the infamous call from shout out Jack Edwards, by the way.
Our friend.
That was the infamous, he's giving him the nuggies call. God damn it. That's my favorite Bruins memory. That was the moment. I was already in love with the Bruins and hockey at that point, but that was the moment where I was like, I am forever cemented as Boston Bruins hockey #1 in Boston. My favorite sport to watch, no matter what. I will live, breathe, and die with this team. And that was my favorite Bruins memory by far. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. If you're a younger fan and you haven't seen it, it's about and shout out to Fumi, because Defumi always has these clips on YouTube. It's about a 35-minute, maybe 40-minute clip of essentially a couple of goals and just brawls all over the ice. Insane.
I don't know if I can give you a favorite memory, because I would have, as soon as you read the question, I went, Game 7, 2013 against the Leafs. I remember there was, when I was in high school and I had like my study period, there was a handful of times I would go to the library and I just watched the replay the entire game on YouTube. Yeah. But since I can't say that, I'll give you a couple moments. First moment, I don't remember who was hit, but it was when Milan Lucic put that Toronto Maple Leafs player through the goddamn glass. Mike
Van Ryn.
I probably have watched that hit no less than 800 times. It is my favorite hit ever delivered. It is so satisfying because I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that is one moment. Moment two, I will say the entire shift by Gregory Campbell when he snapped his femur in half blocking a shot and then stayed out there for like another 45 seconds doing the bet. The guy is screaming in agony, but that's how badly he wanted to win. He's still out there getting in shooting lanes. He's still laying down a blocker shot with a broken leg. And then they had the Bruins fans know it as the infamous Bauer ad that came out with Gregory Campbell when he was like on a knee screaming with a broken leg. I don't remember what the text was, but that was cool. And then, oh, damn it. What was my third? I just had a third one. Oh, my third one is it wasn't a very good fight, but for what it was so exciting because it was the fight with Brad Marchand and PK Subban when Subban lit him up right when he got over the blue line and they got penalties and they were yapping at each other. There was no better rivalry in hockey. Forget Bruins and Maple Leafs. It was Brad Marchand and PK Subban. They hated each other. And it was so much fun. Subban is the only guy I would know who would he wouldn't bitch and moan about Marchand's shit. He would give it right back to him. Yeah. And I think that's what made that rivalry so much fun. I mean, not Maple Leafs, the Canadians have sucked now for like the last handful of years, minus the Mickey Mouse run they had during COVID when they made it to the Cup. But that fight with the two of them at center ice, two players I never thought were going to fight, two players who kind of exemplified that Bruins era in that Canadians era. I thought that was a really cool moment. So those are 3 moments I gave you because I can't use my favorite memory of Game 7, 2013.
Yeah, I think there's so many that I can pick from. Like I remember when Sean Avery during a commercial break was skating behind Tim Thomas and he like pretended to accidentally whack him in the back of his head with a stick and Thomas just charges after him. Andrew Ferentz.
Ferentz when he flipped off the crowd.
That was good. That wasn't even the Ferentz moment that I was going to mention. I was going to mention when I think it was Steve Ott on Dallas. It might not have been Steve Ott, but shot after the whistle and Ferentz just drops it. Like literally, if you go back and watch it, like as soon as he shoots it it was so long after the whistle, he shoots it. Ferentz's gloves go like up into the bleachers and he's just skating across the ice at this guy and he just pummels the shit. he broke I'm pretty sure he broke his orbital bone.
Good, it's like, teach him a lesson. I also liked, I know it's Providence Bruins, but when Tuukka Rask had that meltdown and he snapped his stick and threw it over the glass and freaked out. That was when I fell in love with Tuukka Rask. That was before he ever even became the Tuukka Rask we know him now. But there's been a lot of memories and moments to look back upon. It's almost like you think of the question and you can't think of anything because there were so many things that could possibly come to mind. I think we've been blessed to have quite a few entertaining players come through Boston here in the 20 plus years that you and I have been fans.
Marchand's goal in Game 3 of the 2011 Cup Finals.
You know what was really satisfying? I will never, ever, ever forget Jarome Iginla, and I mentioned this earlier, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I loved the Calgary Flames. I love Jarome Iginla's play style. He can get 50 goals. He's a hard-nosed player. He's a fun guy to root for. And he spent all those years wasting away in Calgary, and he wanted to come to the Bruins, and the Bruins wanted him. And the deal was done. I remember I was constantly refreshing Twitter. Everybody's saying the deal's done. Jarome Iginla's coming to Boston. They were saying what the trade was. My phone was right over there in the kitchen. I charged it down here that night. I remember refreshing it for the official word. Nothing, but everything was saying Jarome Iginla to Boston. It's done. I went to bed happy as a clam. I woke up the next morning. Iginla changed his mind, went to Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I was late to school because I was screaming into my pillow for 2 hours. I could not believe I was so hurt that he picked, and I was confused. How could that happen? This is one of my favorite players ever. He was coming to Boston, not anymore. Now he's going to Pittsburgh, and I resented the Pittsburgh Penguins so much. And when I tell you, when the Bruins kicked the shit out of the Penguins and swept them in the Eastern Conference Finals after Iginla picked them over the Bruins on the way to the Stanley Cup, that was one of the sweetest feelings I've ever had as a Bruins fan. We all know what happened in the Stanley Cup Finals, 17 seconds, but this was before any of that. So I remember I had the picture on my phone of the Bruins bear with the broom, like he was sweeping the ground, and it was Crosby, Malkin, and Iginla, and they were getting swept up into the sky. That was my wallpaper for like 3 months after that, because that was how I had to kind of, like, that's how I dealt with the Stanley Cup Finals loss. At least we told Iginla to shove it. And then the following year again, they came to Boston. But
Mel,
what?
you bringing up Aginla brings back this core memory of mine. I have to play this right now. We're going old school. We're going off the soundboard. If anybody knows Phlegm, you're a real Bruins fan. Mel, you'll know it when you hear it. Ready?
Oh my God, I know exactly what this is.
Ready? This is my anthem.
Shit.
Ayo, the best team in the NHL. Yeah, you know it's them. People hating on us, acting like we ain't supposed to win.
Vokoun or Fleury, might as well have an open net.
Boston strong, Campbell playing with a broken leg. Bergie winning face-offs. Paya, he just takes off.
No one goes up like David Krejci in the playoffs. Ray Charles.
Glad he takes Sagan in that trade-off. These go hard, yeah. Y'all just place off. That's the way it goes when you roll 4 lines like Chloe do.
Tuca's such a BC hardly ever lets a goal through.
Take over the world when we on that Stanley Cup shit. Rolling through the playoffs, ain't that some shit? If you reppin' Boston, you be on that Stanley Cup shit. Rolling through the playoffs, ain't
Hang
that
on.
some shit? We gon' win that Stanley Cup. Watch these haters getting mad. B's got the greatest fans. Head coaches getting canned and they it off. We gon' win. You can take the loser draw. What I mean, they see Lucic and know they don't wanna brawl. We gon' win that Stanley Cup. Sidney Crosby getting mad. Win that Stanley Cup. Habs fans get mad. Won in 2011. Now we about to bring it back. City of the champs, and that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. Can catch me out
The
on
Causeway with a playoff beard. Ayo, Matt Cook. That's what happens when you poke the bear. Yeah, Marshawn with the wrister.
Jerome should have picked Boston over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, let him know, Flem. That song, I totally forgot about. I didn't hear that song for like 8 years, and then a couple years ago, it might have been last year when we were at your house, you, me, and Pat played the song around the fire. It was like unlocking a core memory I forgot I had.
Dude, there has been so many like, fans around the league that have made videos like that. Like there was that famous one from Calgary that was so bad. There was one for Edmonton last year that was so bad.
Horrible.
Like Flem is the only one who's like, this kind of goes hard and he doesn't miss. He has like 4 of them and they don't miss.
Yeah. We got to have him on the pod.
I think we could probably get him on the. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Are you really? He needs to come out with a new song too. Damn.
I know.
That's crazy.
But Seth, the second part of it was first Bruins memory. That I had to think about that all day. And honestly, you know what my first one is?
What?
It's Mark Savard winning, getting that overtime winning goal against Philly and throwing his stick up into the crowd. I think that's the first one that I can like vividly remember. There's things before that, but I'm not that stick with me too much. But I vividly remember Mark Savard scoring that overtime goal and just tossing his stick in the crowd with like the spotlight surrounding him, the crowd going nuts.
You know how old you were then?
That was 2010, so I was 12.
This is gonna sound very morbid, and I understand why. But for whatever reason, like everybody else, I'm a massive Patrice Bergeron fan. I'm the biggest Bergeron. I'm obsessed with Patrice Bergeron, like everybody else is. He is my Lord and Savior. He's the best. I'm trying to think of old memories, and the first memory I think I can remember from the Bruins is when Patrice Bergeron was hit from behind against the Flyers and knocked out and had to get stretchered out on the ice. And I remember the next morning, I remember watching the news. Fox 25 Morning News with Gene Levanchi was showing the highlights from the game. And I remember he showed Bergeron laying on the ice. And I remember him saying, there's Bergeron. You see his foot move here, and then that's it. For whatever reason, those are the words that stick with me. And that was in 2007. And that's the first Bruins memory I think I can remember having is when I can remember the whole play. I remember he went behind the net and he got crushed from behind and he kind of collapsed into it and he was laying there on his, I don't remember if he was on his back or his stomach, but he was laying there motionless and his foot twitched and that was it. And I know it's a bit morbid, but that is the first Bruins memory that I can have. And then I also went to a camp that was hosted by the John Pye McKenzie, but I think I was like 12. So this was before then.
Yeah. So shout out to Seth. That was awesome. Got some good answers too. Some good memories unlocked from those.
Some bad
But
ones
the
too.
next one
Sorry about
comes
that
in.
Bergeron one.
The next one comes in from Frederick for MVP at Frederick_MVP. He said, if you could bring back any former Bruins player from history to play with the current roster, who would it be and why? I think from history, we need a second line right winger. I don't know if this guy played wing. Let me check that really quick. He was a lefty and a center, so it can't be Phil Esposito. What about Johnny Busick was also a left wing? Shit. Some great right wingers in Boston Bruins history. Just in this lineup right now. John McKenzie, Ken Hodge would be a good one. Maybe I think you gotta go Ken Hodge, right? I mean, 6'2", 210 pounds.
Good one.
Shoots righty, plays right wing, 800 points in 880 career games. Ken Hodge is good, but I feel like there's somebody better.
And you're only looking at right wings?
Yeah, because that's what we need right
Michael Ryder.
now.
My pick
In goal.
would be my favorite Bruins player of all time. You know who that is? I'll give you a hint. He's a
Who?
winger. Come on. He's a winger. He's my favorite player ever. He's got a bit of a bowl cut. He wore my favorite number in the early 2000s, late 1990s. He joined the Bruins. He ended up going to play for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Who? The more you say, the more confused I get. Who the?
He's Russian.
Oh, Sergei Samsonov.
Sergei Samsonov, baby. I love Sergei Samsonov. He was probably my favorite Bruin. I would take him back in a heartbeat.
You know what? I'm stupid. Right winger, anytime in Bruins history to put onto this team.
Cam Neely.
Cam Neely. I'm so stupid. I don't know how I didn't think of him right away. For sure,
Yeah,
Cam
no,
Neely.
For me, it would be Sergei Samsonov. He was a left wing, but he's a righty. So I would just stick him at right wing. Give me Sergei. That's a joke. I would take Cam Neely, but I love Sergei Samsonov.
I like the Samsonov pick. Imagine a line of Marchand, Patra, Samsonov, or Marchand, Patra, Neely. I mean,
one of those sounds considerably better than the other. Which one would you rather have? Let's see. Would you rather have Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, and Sergei Samsonov, or Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, and one of the greatest power forwards to ever play the history of the game? Give me the pocket Russian.
Samsonov's a good pick though. So shout out Freddie MVP. This next one comes in from Tyler at Tyler Whitten. He said, if a player wins 2 Stanley Cups for the Bruins, was a Bruins head coach, a Bruins scout, a Bruins analyst, and in the Hall of Fame, should their number be retired? I'm trying to figure out who he's talking about.
Who's the player? Wait, do the resume again.
2 Stanley Cups for the Bruins, was a Bruins head coach, a Bruins scout, a Bruins analyst, and a Hall of Famer. And I know who this is, and his name is just escaping me right now.
Is it Ace Bailey?
No.
No. Ace Bailey was a professional ice hockey player and scout.
Was it Milch? No, Milch Schmidt's number is retired, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wayne Cashman? The Cashman? No, because he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, man. Who the hell is it?
Mike Milbury? Is it Mike Milbury? It might be. Actually, no, it's 100% Mike Milbury because he's an analyst.
Oh, you might be
100% Mike
right.
Milbury.
He's never won a cup.
Don Cherry?
Oh wait, did Mike Milbury win a cup?
Is it Don Cherry?
Did Don
It might
Cherry
be
play
Don
for the
Cherry.
Bruins?
Yeah.
No, Mike Milbury helped the Bruins make it to the cup, but they lost.
No, Don Cherry didn't win a cup either. Pat Burns?
Dude, who the hell is this? Can you say his resume one more time?
2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Bruins, was a Bruins head coach, a Bruins scout, a Bruins analyst, and in the Hall of Fame.
A Bruins analyst?
On Ness and Jack Edwards? Shout out. I'm stumped, dude. I'm like actually stumped.
Is it Jerry Cheevers? Was he a scout?
He must have been. Was he a coach?
I don't know. Yeah, he was a coach.
Are
He
you
replaced
sure?
Don. Yeah. Cheevers' final season as a player came in 1980 when popular coach Don Cherry was replaced by Fred Creighton. After winning their division, the Bruins were in third place, and general manager Harry Sinden fired Creighton, took over as coach. For the 80-81 season, Jerry Cheevers was named coach. Okay.
Excuse me. It must be Jerry Cheevers.
Was Jerry Cheevers an analyst?
Because the Bruins also don't have any goalies retired.
Oh. Yeah, he was also a scout from 95 to 2006.
Who did we draft in that time? this
Sergei Samsonov.
Joe Thornton.
I don't know if he was an
Although
analyst
he was,
though.
I mean,
That was before my time if he was.
well,
I'm gonna say that it's Jerry Cheevers.
I'm gonna say that's Jerry Cheevers, and with the resume that was provided.
Oh, unless it's Terry O'Reilly.
Oh no, Terry O'Reilly's. Wait,
Did he
is
win a
Terry
cup?
O'Reilly not retired?
No, it is retired. You're right.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's for sure retired. Yeah, so it's gonna be Jerry Cheevers. Has to be. Gotta be.
It's actually
Like-
Claude Julien.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's probably Jersey retirement resume.
Yeah, I would say this. Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't really have to find a player to say that that's probably deserves a jersey
I know.
retirement. But
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I agree.
I think we have a couple more, maybe one or two. Let me just make sure. I don't want to skip over anybody. Johnny, our boy Johnny, it's not a question, but he did say, "Happy 100th episode, you buggers. All the very best from your horny UK fans, Uncle Johnny and Aunt Fanny."
Oh, Johnny.
I can't wait to hear him back on the voicemail.
I know.
line.
We miss you, Johnny. I can't wait to hear your voicemails again.
It's been way too long. It feels,
When I tell
that's
you
what-
that
you know
those
what's funny?
voicemails, what?
Oh, I was gonna say, it's funny how we've done, like, we're entering into our third season doing this, and it's funny how we can kind of look back now and think of, like, we kind of have different eras of the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, we have the Zach era.
Yeah. Let me go say
Yeah.
that. We had the Zach era. We had the pre-Mike era. We
Yep.
had the what the hell are we doing era?
Yep. We have the spinny wheel era.
The spinny wheel era. We have
We
the
have the voicemail era.
we have the Lovell era.
Yep.
Honestly, the Lovell era is like it's forever going and never ending. We're
Yeah.
always in the Lovell era.
It's elite.
Yeah. And the Johnny era, I think, is the latest era that we've been in.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Johnny, we miss you. We can't wait to hear you again. It's coming soon, we promise. The voicemail is honestly, the voicemail line is still active. So, like, if you wanted to call and just say what's up, like, we'll get it.
Yeah.
But Zebo,
Zebo.
he said my boys with 3 rocket ships. What's Bruin said, no question, just sending congratulations your way. Thank you. We appreciate that very, very much. Laura said, you guys are hyping up this intro. It better be good. Well, at this point, you guys heard it, and I mean, geez,
I hope it was worth
Jesus
it.
Christ. I don't know if anyone could have guessed what was coming.
Yeah.
And then the last question comes in from Positive at Rush Spoon. New contract looking like for Freddie.
I have like no idea.
No idea.
I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what his value is. I think when we were talking about it last year, it was right when he started last season hot. And I think we were saying like 5 years, like 5.5, I think we went up to.
Yeah.
And he kind of tailed off towards the end of the year. I really don't know what his value is, if I'm being truthful. I don't know what that number is.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be more than 5.
I'll give him
my
bridge deal, 3 years, 4.25.
Yeah. No, that sounds about right. But that was it for the DMs. That was it for the mail. That was it for basically the entire episode. But I just wanted to say once again, we are brought to you in partnership with the one and only Primetime Productions. Give them a follow at Primetime Prods. Give our Twitter a follow at Bruin Something. Give our YouTube a follow at Something's Bruin. And a very, 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 very special shout out to Jack Edwards, the one and only. What you heard in the beginning, it was not AI. It was a call from Jack Edwards. We had asked him if he would do this for us, and he said he would. And we actually come to find out he's a listener of the show. So that's another big thing that we didn't know. So
we love you, Jack.
We love you. Now you know. We know that he knows that we retired his microphone and his suit up into
the jacket. It's hanging from the ceiling with all the retired numbers. Jack Edwards' jacket hangs there with the rest of them, deservedly so. I honestly, I mean, people talk about players who should have had their number retired, or maybe somebody who you scratch your head, how did they get up there? Jack Edwards is a titan of the Bruins. I think hang the jacket, hang the glasses, hang the microphone. It's gonna suck not having him in the booth next year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it is. But
I still don't think I've fully prepared myself for that.
No, I haven't either. But we can confirm that he is in good spirits, and we love him and we appreciate him so much for everything that he's given to the organization, to us as fans, and to help kind of build up our fandom, especially as kids. Just the enthusiasm that he would bring on a nightly basis. But can't thank him enough for doing that for us. I'm still in a little bit of disbelief that he's our podcast intro now. It's so cool. If you had told me that when we first started this podcast, I'd be like, shut up, dude. Like that's not not great.
I know, it's cool. And especially too, I mean, you and I have been Bruins fans our whole lives, and I've never, ever, 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 ever heard anybody ever call the Bruins game other than Jack Edwards, unless he's like on vacation, where he very rarely missed a game. He's always been the voice of the Bruins, and he is synonymous with the Bruins. He is woven into the fabric of the Bruins. And to have his voice be the intro to our show, something that you and I care so much about, something that means so much to us, it is the coolest thing. I don't know how to put it into words, how cool it is for us, and as lifelong fans of the Bruins and Jack Edwards, to have his voice welcome us onto the show moving forward every single week. It's the coolest thing ever. Because like, how many times have we heard that voice, when the game starts, like, oh, like, well, high above the ice, it's Jack Edwards with Andy Brickley, and I was like, now he's saying it's us. So it's, I don't know, it's cool. You kind of fangirl a little bit,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I mean, like you said, dude, Jack Edwards is just as much, just as important to the Bruins as Patrice Bergeron is, honestly. He just an incredible person. We've heard stories come out, whether it was through podcasts or just kind of word of mouth, about how wonderful of a person he is. And I mean, him doing this for us just goes to show that this is another, reason to support those conversations. So with that being said, episode 100 of the Something's Bruin podcast. You can follow myself on Twitter at _Mike Sullivan. You can follow Mel on Twitter at Nick Melanson _. And we will catch you next week.
Bye.